Is it taping?
Yes.
My name is Ralphie Tonelli. I was a Boy Scout back when I was 15. A series of strange things happened to me when I was out on a scouting party. When I left my home in 29 Palms. Back then, I was only a high school freshman. I hung out with my friends, Leo Paul Thompson, Leo Thompson, 16. Francis McMajors Jr., he was from Australia. He was kind of a goth kid. He basically was obsessed with all things dark and scary. He enjoyed horror movies and stuff. His younger brother was Buster McMajors. He was 12 at the time. He attended middle school. Well, Frank was 14. Buster will be turning 13 in a few days. So Leo was the scout boss. We were Boy Scouts, and wherever he went, wherever Leo went, we would follow him. Because he was our scout boss, and we had to do what the scout boss said. So one day, Leo announced we'd be going camping up in Yosemite National Park. I was really looking forward to it. I was going to tell my friend Carlos Ramon, who also goes to school with me, to come with us, but Carlos couldn't make it because he was sick. He had... What did he have? Oh, yes. He had the flu. Carlos was home with the flu. His head was on fire. Well, that's a fever. And he had vomiting and diarrhea for several days and nights. He was going to have to miss our trip. So that night, me, Leo, Frank, and Buster boarded the bus to Riverside Airport. We flew from Riverside to Mariposa County Airport, and then we got a bus to Yosemite. Another bus to Yosemite. While we were on the bus ride, actually, Frank decided to take out his banjo. I had my camcorder this whole time because I was going to be recording the trip. And Frank decided to take out his banjo and play a little tune for Buster to sing and Leo to listen to. Because turns out Frank wasn't all, goth, dark guy. He actually cared for his younger brother, Buster. Because they were actually musicians together. Frank played a banjo. Buster was a fiddler. He played the fiddle and a singer. Buster was a singer. We actually had a nickname for him. He called himself the Singing Fiddler. Anyways, upon our arrival at Yosemite National Park, we were going to camp in Currytown, a small place full of tent cabins, and hotel rooms. We'd be staying in it. So we set up camp that day. The first day was nothing strange happened. The next day we went for our hike on the trail with Leo. We saw some interesting things. Then later that night, that's when stuff got real. It was me, Leo, Frank, and Buster sitting around a campfire. Leo was telling the story of the haunting of the Big Blue House, which no longer exists. The Big Blue House was a home that was supposedly haunted by a woman who was murdered by her drunk husband. But I told Leo that a zombie could tell. I said the Grim Reaper could tell a scarier story, and he was like, "Oh yeah." Leo was like, "Oh yeah, I'd like to see you try." So I was like, "I'll tell you his tragic tale, one that we all lament to this day." It all started back when California was at the height of its gold rush. A young miner was digging in a cave not far from here, searching for gold. He was well supplied as he was looking around. He had a lantern and a pickaxe. Well, he looked around, however, he could not help but notice to feel like he was being watched. He looked around. There was definitely nobody else there with him. Human mining was sigh of relief. However, the sound of wings, of flapping wings, reached his ears. He looked around. There was nothing there. He continued mining. However, while he was mining, the wings were growing louder and louder. He looked around. There was literally nothing around him but rock. He continued mining. He eventually came across an underground lake. There was moonlight filtered in from the roof, casting a dreary glow on the water. However, he saw gold in the water, so he began panning. He heard a strange screech. He looked up and saw it, a massive, terrifying, bat-like creature with large wings, a body resembling that of a person, pointed ears, razor-sharp teeth like swords, and eyes like fire. He ran away, but the beast chased him. Terrifying creature chased the miner till the miner fell into the water and drowned, never to be seen again. So then Buster was like, Ralphie, that's really scary. And then Frank was like, oh yeah, I should hope that creature doesn't come for us. He was like, Frank, you're going to give me nightmares. I already give you nightmares, he told him. So Leo was like, oh please, that creature doesn't exist. I mean, Lost Tapes even said so. Or did they? Yeah, they did. Let's get back to our tents, guys. He said, we have a busy day tomorrow. So that night, while Leo slept in his tent, suddenly a massive shadow of a winged creature descended upon the tent while a rainstorm raged outside. Later that night, as I lay asleep in my... the next morning, we got up to go to the bus station to take us back to the airport. I was like, dude, where's Leo? And then said Buster, and then I was like, he should be here by now. And then I was like, the bus is coming, and Frank was like, I'm so bored. He was like, the plane's coming, we're at the airport. I was like, oh, I'm Frank, I'm so bored. And then Buster was like ignoring it, but I turned around and said, what the? And Buster was like, I'm really worried. I was like, I'm sure he is. We're gonna go check on Leo. So we went to Leo's tent, opened the door, he wasn't there. So I said that Leo must be on a morning walk, waiting for us. So I told Buster to go to the search the mines north of here, while I told Frank to go back to the airport, see if Leo was there. So I'll search the campsite. So later that night, meanwhile, Buster went to search the caves. He couldn't hear anything. Didn't see anything. He looked around. And suddenly he heard a noise, but it was nothing. And suddenly something large, a large winged shadow descended upon him, and he screamed. Later, Frank ignored the cry for some reason, even though it was his brother. So I went searching the forest. I couldn't find him, so I returned. I saw Frank wasn't there, but I saw signs of a struggle, such as a button, Frank's merit sash, and his pocket knife stained with the blood of some unknown creature. It wasn't his, it was something else. I was like, the train's here. I was like, the plane's here, maybe Frank's on it. Frank wasn't on the plane. I was like, pilot, quick, I need a flight to the ranger. So then a few days later, the park rangers discovered a young teenager's body last night. Leo Thompson, 16, was discovered dead in the Merced River, wearing a nightgown at 5 in the morning. No damages occurred to the boy's body. However, the police did say the boy's back seemed to have large claw marks or talon marks. Annie, age 14, Leo's sister, states that Leo was camping with his friends, who have also been reported missing. In other news, so then there was like, it was for a week since the camp. It's been 2 weeks since the camping trip. The rangers questioned me, oh, I saw. Then they went about their business. I found his corpse afterwards when I returned to Carlos shocked, and Carlos got better from the flu. But there's still one question that burns hot in my mind. If Leo's corpse wasn't there when we were there, how did they find it miles from where we were? Okay, stop.